None. Welcome to Ama Egwu, Alpha program about our music and us. Our music and us, where I when you call with they investigate their time, their resources, their knowledge into Igbo music. Name Igbo music. They so my fan akoma gbasalo egwu Igbo and all. Maka ndị na-esonye anyị Maazị Ifésináchi Nwádiké bụ an OAP, bụrụ a poet, bụrụ a music critic. Sabi Sabi bụkwa an OAP. OAP bụ on air personality. So ndị a na-eme program on radio. So ọ bụ niile ege radio ga ọfụma na Anambra ma na Lagos, ị ga-ama Maazị Ifesinachi na Sabi Sabi ọfụma. Sabi Sabi bụrụkwa a content creator. Iji wee bido, ọ na-eme guest ọbụla anyị na ya nọ, onye ọbụla anyị na ya nọ. Anyị bugodo n'ụzọ jụọ ha n'uche gị, gịnị bụ ama egwu, ka ife ama egwu pụtarụ nyere gị. Maazị JP ka anyị bido, Maazị Ifesinachi ka anyị bido na gị, ka ife ama egwu pụtara n'uche nke gị.
Ndewo nwanne m. Akwụla na ihe m na-ekwu.
Ana m anụ. Ndewo.
Ile anya nọ m n'ezi, na mbara ezi, n'ama ezi, ka ihe wee na-abata. Dịka m tara ụsa echi gara aga, ihe ama egwu pụtara o. Ama m na ọtụtụ ndị na-asị na ama o ọgbakọ o nzukọ in another meaning, but a space ebe ihe na-eme, ihe na-eme. Yes. So yes, I'm an Enugu. So in this regard, you will get called Ama stage. And an Enugu.
Yes.
Network I call Lozota. You will get called Ama. You will get Ama stage. And Ama Egwu abụrụ. Enwere onye ọzọ nọ ebe a mkpọtụ ya na-abata. Onye ahụ n'idiri ime itu, enwere ebe mkpọtụ na-esi abata, m na-anụ kene mkpọtụ na background. So ya wụrụ nke ahụ. Egwu awụrụkwanụ, of course, egwu ma nke a na-agụ agụ ma nke a na-eti eti. So ama egwu ebe ihe na-akpọtụ, ebe egwu na-ada, ebe egwu dị aṅa, ebe a na-egoli, ebe a na-ebi ndụ, ebe a na-elepụrụ anya, ma ọ ebe a na-agba mgba, ma ọ ebe a na-agụ egwu, ma ọ ebe a na-alụ nwanyị. Mana dịka etiti ya ama egwu, enwere ama mgba, nwee ama ọgụ. So dịka etiti ya ama egwu, or dịka esikpọ ya ama egwu, ọwa ama a place where entertainment happens. So like I also explained earlier, it could be regarded as an entertainment hub. So if you are going to find an English expression that befits Ama Egwu, you can say it's the entertainment hub of Igbo land. So yes, Ama Egwu pụtara ebe ife na-akpọtụ, ọkachasị egwu na-ada ụda. Daalụ nwanna.
Okay, I chukwu maka Ama Egwu, right? At those days when I was growing up, my dad gasi Ponama, go to a certain place, a place that is kept where people come to commune. So Egwu in Igbo means music. So to me, I feel Ama Egwu is that place where people come to commune. No need for unnecessary talk, no need for lots of chit chat, just great music. You listen to great music. And I think people are even beginning to imbibe. I've gone to a noiseless party where you get to wear your headphones and you just listen to the music. It's just you and your music, right? So to me, I think Ama Egwu is Ebendi Madunagano, to commune and listen to great music. That is basically what I can say about Ama Egwu.
Dalurine Sabi Sabi na Mazi JV. Unu azago n'uche nke unu. Guest ndị ọzọ anyị ga na-enwekwa na mgbakọ a ga na-agwakwa anyị ife ama egwu bụ chiden. Ọ bụ uche anyị na by the time anyị mee ya anyị ga-enwe a consensus of mara ife bụ uche ndị mmadụ ife ama egwu bụ. Then ajụjụ m ọzọ bụrụkwa Sabi Sabi m ga-ebido na gị kịta. Ụmụ ụfọdụ Igbo music bụrụ ndị na-agụ ya. So ịbịa n'uche ụfọdụ asị gị na ife bụ Igbo music today bụ ọ bụkwa na onye Igbo gụrụ ya ịma nọ Igbo music. Ịgbakwa n'uche ndị ọzọ ha sị gị na ọ bụrụ na Igbo music bụ egwu ọbụla a na-asụ asụsụ Igbo na ya. Ịbịakwa n'uche ndị ọzọ especially n'uche ndị maybe ndị they inclined to music very well. I say no, maybe the production ejile ichaka jiludu menka che ya onwe that production of Igbo music yabu no yabu Igbo music. For that no the combination of the three. So actually Sabi Sabi gini bu Igbo music. Okay, your definition of Igbo music.
Okay, thank you so much for that question because it's a very, very important question. An on-air personality, most times when we go on air, we get to play different genres of music, right? And then you hear people asking you to play them Igbo music, and then you ask them the kind of Igbo music, Facho, Kiko, and they begin to mention names like Flavor, Fino, Zoro, Mr. Raw, Slow Dog. I know at some point Fanny Tinye Asusu Igbo in their music, but for me, I don't think that is really an Igbo music. For me, I think an Igbo music is when you begin to consider the instruments embedded in the music. The language is our language, right? So when you begin to talk about music, you tend to maybe want to talk about the language. But if you can connect with the music, the language would not matter to you when you can connect to the music. Because sometimes I get to listen to, East African guys like the Fali Pupa, Kofi Olumide, I get to listen to, and I to their song they are talking about, but because of the harmony, I just find myself bopping to those songs. But then when we begin to consider language, Igbo music has to do with the language. It has to do with everything. In Igbo, the Wawa, the Aburundi Igbo. So you begin to ask yourself, okay, when you're doing Igbo music, which of the dialects in Igbo consists of the Igbo music? Is it the Enugu Igbo, the Anambra Igbo, the Ebonyi Igbo, or maybe a man from Imo State, doing music? We have people like Sonny Bobo, he does great music. But for me, before I can really beat my chest and say this is an Igbo music, is when the instrument is there. When I get to hear the Oja, I get to hear the Ogene, I get to hear the Chaka man, playing the Chaka, and I'm hearing all the instruments in the music, and then the language also is it for me. So, I was discussing with someone this morning, and I began, and I told the person that those village, and I'm listening to my grandma, and she's talking about Mike Ejara. She's talking about some other persons that for now I remember their names, right? And then you listen to the music, and they do what is called folklore, or yes, I hope I'm getting it right. You get to listen to stories. They tell stories with music, and you get to feel the story. So when you talk about Igbo music, Flavor, Fino, or Mr. Raw, Ill Bliss to an extent, they could pride in themselves that they do Igbo music. But for me, I don't think that could be an Igbo music, right? Because at some point, they tend to like a flavor, you know, like if I know Ifesinachi made mention of flavor yesterday, being, you know, crowning himself the king of high life. Because when you talk about high life now, I've gone to different, wanting to live in Flavor's shoes, wanting to perform like Flavor, because now he's called himself the king of high life. So when you talk about Igbo music, I think
we lost you a bit.
To do with the instrument and language.
Flavor. We lost you a bit where you were saying something about
Flavor. He has crowned himself the king of high life, because when you want to talk about high life in the new era, you begin to think about Flavor, because he has succeeded in making himself the king of high life. Before, I used to, enjoy Igbo. I enjoy their music. In fact, I love how the two brothers, they carry themselves along. But right now, I don't think they really do our core Igbo music. Maybe it's the acceptance. People are no longer accepting the Igbo music. Or maybe when you're doing Igbo music, you're seen as local. Nobody wants to be called local. Nobody wants to be called, Jew man or Jew boy. Everybody wants to be seen as modern 21st century. So even when you begin to think about, there is this other guy from Inteje. I can't remember his name. Maybe when Ifesinachi wants to talk, he might, remind me of his name. One guy from Inteje. He does great music. And at some point in my head, I just keep praying, Loco one Inteje. Like, I just keep praying in my head. Yeah, he doesn't, deviate from that Igbo music, because Igbo music is very beautiful. When you begin to, there's some Igbo music you listen to, no biggie, you're just thinking of I want to eat bushmeat. When you listen to Igbo music and you surround yourself with people that really appreciate Igbo music. And when I talk about Igbo music, I don't want to talk about the people like Osadebe, Oliver Dikoko, those ones all highlight. Just begin to talk about people praise singing. That is what they do. They do praise singing. But when you talk about Igbo music, I'm sure maybe I'm not really painting the picture well, but I think it has to do with the story. Tell us story about Ife male Nana Ifa. Tell us the story, and laced with great instruments, and give us goodies.
Dalurine Sabi Sabi Mazi Ifesinachi ka anyị bịa maka ama m na ị nwere a lot to tell us about ike ife bụ Igbo music. N'uche nke gị, ka ife bụ Igbo music, what defines an Igbo music and an Igbo musician?
Yeah, so daalụ nwanna. Nwada Sabi Sabi gbara mbọ, ezigbote mbọ ịkọwapụta ihe wụ egwu Igbo, and I agree that she raised. Then just like I mentioned earlier, of course I'll be referencing earlier, the discussion now and weave around Igbo music. The part of the discussions that conditioned the Conference of African Literature in 1963, where the likes of Chinua Achebe and Wole Soyinka and Ngugi wa Thiong'o and all other prominent writers then gathered to debate on what constitutes African literature, what could be called African literature, or the language or the writer. Now, my sister said language matters, the singer matters, the theme matters, all African Igbo music. Now, onya nọ na-agwa isi na enwelo ekedava na mana gospel Frank Edwards nwere egwu Igbo ya na Domoenu melu, and Domoenu ji Igbo wee gụọ ya wa bụ egwu. Ama m edeli edenye ya, mana agụwa ndị na-agụ egwu Igbo a ga-agụ Domoenu ọwụ onye Igbo. Now, iche Iga mana dịka ibi na mgbago ugwu kịta ipụta echi yili uwe ndị mwụda ndị a na-eyi kpuli okpufa solufa jee ebe a na-akpụ isi na anị ịpụta ili etu o si nkafa onye si gị zo ịnụ na ya sịrị gị bịa ije za ajọ gị ka ede esi dị mma n'olu anafa mana ịbụrụ onye ebe ahụ akwa eziokwu. Now when you bring it down to the deliberation here, Igbo music becomes more than the singer. So I agree with Sabi that you may not necessarily have to classify the slow dogs and hillbillies them and even P-Square them as people who do Igbo music. No, they are only musicians of Igbo extraction. And if they add the Igbo language to it, they are simply representing where they are coming from. But there are nitty-gritties involved. And what is that nitty-gritty? Of course, yesterday, I mentioned that Oja. I mentioned, and it must not always, Oja must not always be in the ensemble. But every culture has a distinct sound, either by way of music or by way, the phonology of their communication. So, Oja yania, makana Oja wu ofu opi ndị Igbo na-eji agba gada. Ihe afọ onye mmụọ ya dalụ ada ya anụ ebe a na-afụ ọja obi n'ike nwere ike were ego niile ya na-akpa ya onye na-afụ ọja ya mere Igbo ji sị gịnị ọja na-edufu dike. Echi m kwuru maka ogene eji m ụmụ ọgbakọ ndị nne anyị wee maa atụ si na ije n'ọgbakọ ndị nne enwere mgbe a na-akụ egwu na mitin ya na-akpọ egwu akeleke dị mma, you know, from ibuli ogene nwanne isu ya naanị ya ịkụ ya kpom wit osisi nwanne a na-eji akụ ya na the hollowness, the sound that comes out from those technicalities of ibuli elu ibudi ya na isu ya na aja mgbe ị ga-akụ to follow the percussion of udu ịchaka and ndị ọzọ, they all come together to make a sound. As a radio personality also, I noticed some of the problems Sabi Sabi was talking about. A lot of people will just come and say, Ama Egwu Igbo. Gospel, egwu ekpere, ko egwu ekpili. But then they are not doing Igbo music like the language that classifies them Igbo. Then when she talked about Mobile Igbo, I had written an essay earlier and refused to publish it because I felt it to be too quick to conclude from my end that from that song they started deviating from the Umobile Igbo sound.
Maazị Ifesinachi, biko kwa network gị nyebelu that you could not
dele maka Umobile Igbo na ọwụ iji kwenye na ihe Nwaada kwuru na ọ dị ka ha adapụwago n'egwu eji malụfa. Album ha niile mgbe ahụ malụ mma until ha bịagụwa this culture, that culture ha gụrụ with Fino and Flavor last 2 years. Onye amụma sị anyị gbala ụmụ nwaanyị ọsọ. And then they brought in Mastercraft. Mastercraft came with a lot of English embellishments on those Igbo sound. Because hybridity is involved in instrumentation. Yes, I agree. But when that English embellishment becomes big boom boom, we know it is an Igbo progression. But a kind of theatricalities have dabatawazi. Now this is they got too anglicized. I felt sick hearing Umubi singing in pidgin English. It didn't go well for me. So at that point, they ceased to be Igbo musicians. They became musicians of Igbo extraction. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, Ejai Nwamba na Ama Egwu ogene. Inanya iafu ekwe fudu fu ịchaka na ogene dị iche iche n'aka Ejai Nwamba na ndị otu ya na ụmụ Okwesileze group ndị a. The genre of the music they are doing is ogene music without the technicalities of the studio, without FL studio, window, all those studio, modern studio production and the embellishments and that sound. So the sound is still raw. The language is still Igbo. In Igbo music now, they are using kicks and percussions from Western cities, but they still blend with my orientation of Igbo. Same with Egwu Bongo, Nwegu Udubonch, Ndi Udubonch, I'm trying to classify their music now when the new modern life. So all these things to me, Wegu Igbo. Ya uru me nwere akụkọ akọrọ like mgbe kwuru ekwu Mike Ejeagha ya ji mara akụkọ idu na ọba na ya enwelili otu ụrụrọ interview mmelu Mike Ejeagha mgbe m enwe akwụkwọ anyị na-ede maka Mike Ejeagha interview emeli enwe mgbe okwu na ndị na-etiri egwu na ha mee ha eje obodo ndị ọzọ jee nụ akụkọ ifo ha nụta akụkọ ifo ha nata kọgharịa ya. He will now try to embellish it and musicalize it. Such power, such immensity, such talent, the ability to memorize those stories. Unlike these days when you have midgets and phone to record, those men carried those stories in their head, came back and vomited it raw to Mike Ejeagha. Then he will musicalize it. Enwere gị na mmadụ mewe ihe ịkọwa ogologo akụkọ sị gị ịkọbago akụkọ Mike Ejeagha maka na akụkọ juru n'egwu Mike Ejeagha mana ige egwu Mike Ejeagha ihe afụ na ọwụ ihe ụmụ Igbo ọwụ nnọọ mmiri ara nne from the Igbo matrix of proverbs, the ontology of Igbo being Igbo, the battles, the ethics, the ethos of being Igbo. So the likes of Celestine Okonkwo 77 ha ihe ndị ya wikwo na ha gụrụ egwu Igbo. Anyị enwerịrị one Igbo world view like mgbe agbanyeghị na Ọsadebe nwere egwu ọgụlọ ọ na-akpọ ebezina mana Fino nwere egwu Celestine ukwu ọgụ kwarịrị ọ says na. Now that song is lullabic in the sense that those days ọ na-awụ nne na nna jewe ugbo fewere ụmụazị fa nyefee n'aka ofe okenye na-ama njenwuzi ugbo ma ọwụ nwatakịrị ọzọ na-etotoliteli ma ga-amalite ihe ọ ya eme ma nwa bewa akwa ihe a wee egwu ụrụrụ a na-agụrụ ụmụazị mgba ma abewa akwa ka ji gba nkịtị. Now Mike Celestine ukwu were egwu a weli ya tifee ji ajikọọ ihe ndị ọzọ gbasara omenala Igbo na ihe ndị na-eme ụmụ Igbo. Fino modernized it by talking about a relationship, how he is able to get a woman and has vowed to take care of her, and he is in fact using that sound to tell her never to worry, that since he is in the relationship that she's okay. So to me, in conclusion, Egwu Igbo must, I repeat, must include the language. Because if you assemble all the Igbo sound and then sing in English, it has also been defeated. Egwu Igbo must include language. It must include the theatrics and the technicalities of Igbo sound, but it must not necessarily include the singer, because of course a good music has no language barrier. Kofi Olomide that she mentioned originally is from Nigeria, all right? And now he sings in Francophone, okay? So if we begin to trace nationality of musicians, you can classify Kofi Olomide as a Nigerian, but then also, echi kita noa enwe onye ọcha bịara ala Igbo mụọ egwu like ile now pop culture is advancing. The girl from Russia na-akpọ Oyibo Malian is now speaking pidgin like she wrote the dictionary herself and doing a lot of things even Nigerians are scared of doing. But she's here in Nigeria. So if, for instance, she begins to learn Yoruba language very well and begins to sing Yoruba, like I mentioned yesterday, Terry Akpala, who does Akpala music, and I repeat again that Akpala is one of the hardest, if not the hardest genre of Yoruba music. But Terry Akpala is doing this Akpala sound. But Terry Akpala is from Isoko. But you cannot count Yoruba musicians and without counting Terry Akpala, because he does the Akpala genre both with the instrumentation and both with the language, despite not coming from Yoruba land. He's an Isoko boy. So to me, Igbo music must include the language and the sound, but not necessarily the musician himself. Thank you.
Dalurine Mazi Ifesinachi na Sabi Sabi Mazi Ifesinachi agwagain that the Igbo music must include the language, it must include the technicalities, but it is not a must that it must include the Igbo person. He could have people who come down. But I na fubuku na video, video and share online. Enough for some choristers, maybe outside the country, performing Igbo worship songs, which you do and everything. Maybe I go Ekperenabu and the rest. And you see it appears beautiful and all. So Dalun Rine for clearing that out. And then you have also cleared out my follow-up question, which would also or can carry around or off. In wiki list artists that you can classify now that are doing Igbo music based on your definition. Artists are in a hand of Keta, name Igbo music based on your definition. Mazi Ifesinachi, can I be done again?
Okay. Okay. It be total and encapsulating. Currently now, most of the sounds they are making now like Ige Obiago. Everything Fino using that Obiago is totally Enugu in nature. Every sound in that song came from Enugu. There is no any hybrid on it, you know. Both the bass of the sound and the instruments. Now, so here I go Zoro, because Zoro sonamdi melo egwu ogene jibe we legalize ndị ọcha na ndị ọzọ. Mana mgbe Zoro gụrụ that ogene, ndị mmadụ aka izi na Davido kwa na-eji Igbo na-akụ egwu n'elu ogene beat, ndị na-abụrọ ndị Igbo. The impact that young man made on Igbo music is too much. So yes, we'll count Zoro. Yes, Fino, Flavor, Ill Bliss, Nigga Ross, Slow Dog, what's his name now? Ejak Nwamba, yes, KC Limpiana. So the new songs he's making with them are beautiful. Of course, you can classify all of them. But when you are talking about full-time division of Igbo extraction and then Igbo music now, you will now begin to say, okay, a little to the left, a little to the right. But in totality, you can always classify all of these guys, including P Square, by the way. But of course, now that they are separated, Mr. P can only be called a Nigerian musician of Igbo extraction. There is no Igbo-ness in any sound. His current album didn't even carry one word. Didn't carry one weight of Igbo ensemble. His current album didn't carry one weight of Igbo ensemble. So, having said that, Rofko and Nwaba, Boha, Onyenze guru one Igbo musicians. Musicians, I agree. I've had them Igbo music.
Anọ m ya daalụ nne Maazị Ifesinachi. Daalụ nne Sabi Sabi onwe onye n'otinyere ịchọrọ ịkpọnyekwu afa.
He has basically called everybody, right? Because I think anybody done at this side in Agwegwe,
yes.
Basically the person is an Igbo musician. So Fancha, both Fino Flavor, Slow Dog, Il Bliss, Ugochi. In fact, Fancha, all the people he mentioned, they are Igbo artists, they are Igbo musicians.
Okay. So ajụjụ ọzọ nga like ji ọ bụrụ unu na-abụ maka ndị na-esonye anyị. Maazị Ifesinachi Nwádiké bụ an OAP, bụrụ a poet, bụrụ a music critic. Sabi Sabi bụkwa an OAP. OAP bụ on air personality. So ndị a na-eme program on radio. Ọ bụ na ị na-ege redio oge ọfụma na Anambra ma na Lagos, ị ga-ama Maazị Ifesinachi na Sabi Sabi ọfụma. Sabi Sabi bụrụkwa a content creator. Ife o ji wee dị mkpa na mme introduction a bụ ajụjụ ọzọ anyị nwere ejo bụ Igbo music na Igbo artist ha na-enweta the right kind of attention in Southeast, in Nigeria, and all over the world. Ọ bụ na azịza ga-abụrụ yes, ka role the media play in it. Mana ọ bụ na azịza gị bụ no, o nwee fụta dịlụ traditional media like radio, TV, and all. So Maazị JP, ọ dịkwa ka Ifesinachi, ọ dịkwa ka ga-ebido na gị kịta. Igbo music ọ na-enweta the right, the needed attention.
So what the answer yes, or no. Yes, in the sense that all thanks to the new media. No, in the sense that traditional media totally failed Igbo music. I won't hide it. Before, like I answered earlier, before the proliferation of social media, traditional media of TVs and radios and newspapers, now full Igbo music as the order. There is an orderness, order of OTHERNESS. There is an orderness they place to it, like it is not mainstream. It is like the Black American movies in Hollywood. They treat it with this air of orderness. Until Hot FM became flagship in Imo State in 2010. In all those radio Nigeria those days, even at source Egundo. In fact, I have been an Mado, and I have any more source Indian, and I have Indian Napo, or Kelly, or Michael Jackson. Those days. Tupac, DMX, nearly them 50 Cent and the rest of them. In fact, Awilo Lokomba Urewu na Igbo Karegundi Igbo agụcha mgbawa makana amabia fele na-eme to carry on the tradition and hit their chest and say yes, we are doing this thing. They don't give it the razzmatazz that all people like the work gives to their music. So until social media, about Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, where these musicians left the orthodox of being a musician, where you have to get a record label to sign you before you start branding yourself. People took it upon themselves.
Maazị Ifesinachi, I'll have to come in now. Maka amamu from my end, call your end. Mana network or the.
If they are branding themselves, they are branding their music and identity. The impact of Igbo music in the world now is courtesy of Nigerian media. No longer have the YouTube and share to people. The network is very strong. Okay, if anybody. Can you hear me?
Sabi Sabi so I think we look maybe Maka Insta. Because Obuni gave video from maybe about how traditional media failed us.
Okay, I had to shift. Okay, unanum kita.
Okay.
So
Sabi Sabi
I think. Hello, and I name Neku. Okay,
I can get
traditional music failed Igbo. Traditional media failed Igbo music in the sense that they placed a kind of orderness of the order. Let us play Nigerian music. When we have time, we can play the order. Igbo. A lot of Igbo music. Yamam nenwuro onye na ama na akpọ Pabrazak. Pabrazak awurewu Mark 4. Nyam ndị Igbo gụlụ early 2000s. Mamoswaki, Usema no go waki, Mamoswaki. Ojubaka, Ogwogwo ya je. You know that the beauty of those songs were lost in the media because much attention weren't paid to them. They were seen as the other musicians, the local champions. Now, social media came and revolutionized the space where if you don't play my song on Sound City or Hit TV, I can go to YouTube and upload my song and ask my friends and family to share. Before you know it is gaining traction. So the musicians left that their emblazoned concept of being a musician, joining a record label, to promoting themselves by themselves, promoting and branding their identity, their music, their sound and style. And with the impact of Ogene music, which has sustained for more than 5 years now, from Igente, it went outside with the current flow of what do I put it? With the current flow of Afro hip hop in Nigeria, Afro beats, you know, the whole Afro fusion, the world began to listen to Nigeria. And they listening to Nigeria, Igbo music and Igbo musicians found an attachment in that attention that was given to Nigerian music. And you know, the traditional media good attention and even failed these people. We didn't know much about many Igbo musicians now when it was just the newspapers and radios, the AITs and the NTAs and the South City TV and MTV. But now that we have Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, they guide well and they are royalties from these social media apps and handles than the media. So, I don't want to back your phone no matter what again. You have learned that Jesus can say and balls phone I and your kita.
That okay. Dalurin ne mazi Ifesinachi ebanye go we nonyera anyi tata na zani neza ezalo ofuma ebi na agbapo amamu ma phone gi okay Sabi Sabi biko onwe ifi nwe itinye n'ife okwu Igbo music on ewu on a receive the right attention okwesi only obuna is yes why the role of the media obuna is no Kefota Dero traditional media?
Okay, first of all, I would love to say no. Igbo music is not really getting the spotlight it should be getting. Fadi at all, because I don't know if it's because we don't want to be seen as local. That is why our traditional media, they don't even want to begin to inculcate, Igbo music into their playlists, right? Early last year, I got a call from someone, and only asked him, I want to set up a radio station that has got to do with Igbo. We play Igbo music from morning till night. And I was really happy. I was extremely happy. Okay, and right now, if you listen to this radio, I don't want to mention names. If you listen to this radio right now, they basically do not play Igbo music anymore. They don't play Igbo music anymore because today they are thinking of acceptance. How will people accept us? The old-air personalities they wanted to employ were looking at themselves as, oh, how do you expect me to come out and tell someone I am an Igbo presenter? So nobody wants to be associated with that language. And truth be told, just as Igbo language is living, Igbo music also, if you are not careful, Igbo music might also live also. If we are not very careful, Igbo music might live also. But then when I was working at my former station, I can remember us having a meeting and talking about how we want to have an Igbo sports show to carry, everybody along. And I can remember some persons in the meeting standing up to say no, that, we can't have Igbo sports on this radio. That how do you expect us to sound local? How do you expect us to have an Igbo sports program if it's not even great for us to have an Igbo sports program? So the media is not even trying at all. The on-air personalities are not even trying at all. When someone would approach you to play their songs, you're looking at the song and you're like, no, I can't play this song because you're speaking Igbo. It is going to dent my program or dent my playlist. So by the time we need to begin to have an open mind, relearn and unlearn everything we've learned, I think it is really going to help us. Fine. Ifesinachi talked about, the new media helping to assist and promote these artists. Really, truthfully, I must confess they are really doing well. But then we should not put down or downplay the power of radio and TV in helping to promote these songs. So I think traditional media need to do more. Owners of radio stations, managers of radio stations, content creators also need to do well. By the time you're creating content, I think it's best for you to, as much as possible, try to infuse animal song in the content you're creating. But then I don't know what is really wrong. What is really wrong? Like I said before, people do not want to associate with that Igbo language. I've been to Lagos, I've traveled to, Kaduna, I've traveled to Kano, Katsina, and I've, seen people proudly, promoting their own. But come down to this place, it's not happening at all. Let's take a look at our artists, our A-list artists, they don't even do that at all. You see these young artists begging them to be on their song. Even when they are on their song, you see them, wanting to talk down on them because you're a growing artist, I cannot have you on my song. So we need to do well. We should do well. By the time you begin to watch, African Magic Hausa,
Sabi Sabi.
Mwana onwe mechi aktarokwa mana
No.
itiri akpigo eje eima asị na ewe ọkụ ịmala enwe ife dị iche na power bank na charger.
No. As far as na na-anụ ọnụ gị ọma mma ela Sabi Sabi ọ dịkwa ka anyị eluzigo ya. Okay. All right. Mazi JP. Mazi Ifesinachi. Asking kanjo imago if which ife ni na ikwugo. Ị ga-afụ na enwe role onye ọbụla nwe play in Igbo music, in the promotion of Igbo music. Ama Egwu is our own way of promoting Igbo music. If you go for na onwe ka kalise bo na obona in abundance, maybe this live stream would have been much more better. Mana we are doing, everybody is doing the bits they can. So I actually Sabi Sabi.
Of course.
What are the little bits you people have been doing from your own end as OAPs, and what you expect other OAPs to do in the promotion of Igbo music?
Okay. I may be the I started as a rapper, even though I became more interested in the critical angle of music, and then faced academy more than I should record. So I know what artists facing coming up. So here in Lagos, where I stay, which is predominantly Western culture and media, I founded the Ngangibo radio show on Hot 99.3 FM in Lagos here, Lekki, where we curate Igbo culture, Igbo activities, Igbo news, and project them with Igbo songs with our target audience, Igbo Lagosians, and of course, Lagosians of other ethnicities that are liberal enough to listen in. So, but one of the challenges I had when I was doing this show is that Fino, Flavor, Nigaro, Zorro, and maybe Umobilibo, and later Cavemen and KC. You can hardly find other Igbo boys that are singing in Igbo who could be proud to do it appropriately. You know, appropriately, I mean, I mean good music in Igbo, even if it is R&B. Na social media now you're seeing by the time I put that information out, I was able to curate more than 4 songs in a week on that radio. So the little I have done in this regard is that show, even though I only did it for 1 year and handed over before moving on to other things, I was able to specifically on Igbo songs. Also, Igbo kana you know, asụsụ Igbo ka anyị na-eji, ife gbasara ndị Igbo ka anyị na-ekwu, ọdọkataba nnọọ ndị Igbo niile. Ụfọdụ ndị Igbo bụ ndị nọ na obodo a na-adị asụ Igbo, na-adịghị proud, adadịwa proud, na-enwego nnọọ dịka Faji FM na-ekwu na Yoruba all true, na-enwego program na-ekwu maka ndị Igbo na asụsụ Igbo, na-agụkwa n'egwu ndị Igbo. Ụfọdụ mgbe ha kpọọ na the show, ọ na-atọ ha ka ha ji Igbo kwuo okwu. That is one. Then two, also, almost all these musicians, I follow them on social media handles, and I am humble enough to repost important news about their artistry, songs, repost songs, comment, go to their YouTube channels, write long essays that are promoting and encouraging them. And you see other people, because on social media these days, you have a lot of people with bandwagon mentality. They don't have their own ideas until other people say them. So in order to help these people gain traction, we visit their pages, write good stuff about them, and then you see people coming on to say something. Again, also, I worked in between late 2019 and early 2020. I worked basically as a staff writer with Tush magazine, where I wrote about 80 essays in 3 months. 70% of those essays were basically on Igbo musicians, where I reviewed their albums, their songs, you know, so from Zoro to Fino to Flavor to KC to so many other people. There's this other rapper in Lagos now, Nwádiké with Jamoch, you know, but these are the things we've done. And I have moved from reviewing Egwu Igbo. I've moved from reviewing Egwu Igbo to writing a full book. Like I stated earlier, Muna Marachi Atama, you know, and one professor, Mduka Otiono, interviewed my last book, and I have just transcribed into English.
Ije Amarachi Atama of
So not just reviews and publishing on blogs about Igbo musicians, we are also now doing books on Igbo musicians, especially from the old guys. So I Muna Maracha Tama na Professor Ndoka Otiono nwere akwụkwọ anyị na-ede gbasara Mike Ejeagha gbasara egwu ya ndụ ya achievement ya niile na the importance, the strategic importance of his song as at the time he did his albums. You know, mgbe Wile uru ọ bara anyị his cultural repositioning of Igbo music, you know, Igbo worldview through music. So anyị edesichago ihe ndị a ọfọzi ka eme final editing nye dịzi ka ebe next year kwuo okwu publication dịka nke yikwele ya anyị edesigo proposal mụ na otu oyi m nwoke on Oriental Brothers, you know, on Oriental Brothers. Ihe anyị na-achọzi kịta bụ ka enweta grants because nke anyị ama ndị ya with our own little money, because it is a group of about 5 to 6 musicians who I refer to as the most important band in the whole of West Africa, especially as they were instrumental to Igbo people's healing after the Biafra War. Oriental Brothers ka ndị Igbo nweta onwe ha, ka ndị Igbo ji bounce all back. Egwu ha mere ndị Igbo encourage no anyị anwụrụ nkịta n'obi jeje nachi ya azụ wụrụkwa ndị ahụ before and even better. So edesia maka Oriental Brothers kịta m na-eje n'isi Okonkwo Asaa 77 na Celestine Okwufa anwụgo mana the next book I'm trying to do is going to trace the genealogy of Igbo music from the era of Akunwafo Obinigbo to Mike Ejeagha, down to Celestine Okwu and Okonkwo Asaa, down to Osadebe and Oliver the Cook, down to the Flavors, them and the Fino. There are 5 to 6 generations of musicians within this scope that I want to trace, you know. So these are the things we are contributing to Igbo music. And I hope that over time, I enwete ego che sign mmadụ enwego onye m kara sign mana aka ezuchabe ọ pụtakwa assign kwa mana ya abụrụ onye Igbo kwalite omenala na asụsụ Igbo ya wụrụ nke eji wụrụ ya. So these are the little impacts we've been able to make, and then I hope that it keeps getting better and better.
Dalurin Mazi Ifesinachi Sabi Sabi biko kaino tronogi ajụjụ na jobo as an OAP and a content creator. What has been your contribution towards the promotion of Igbo music, and what would you advise other persons, other OAPs and other individuals to do in order to promote Igbo music?
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, I would love to commend Ifesinachi for what he's doing. It's really great, you know, to find people that are passionate, that are ready to protect the Igbo. Really, I would even love to work with him later. But then, for me as a content creator, I try as much as possible to, in any content I'm creating, I try as much as possible to feel that Igbo music. In fact, your bed has to be Igbo. Most times when they come to this, you know, and they want me to write an advert for them or create a content that is going to sell their market, I tell them, you have to do this. You have to use this instrument. And sometimes when we are done and they listen to it, they become happy. Like, so we can do this. You understand? So sometimes I go even as far as talking to young people that I know. Okay, recently, it was on Tuesday, someone reached out to me on Instagram, sent me a DM. You know, the DM has been pending. So I decided to check my DM. And when I checked, a young artist, young boy, he sent me his song. I listened, great song, right? So I told him, come to the office and see me. He came, we sat down, we talked. And after talking, I was asking him, what kind of music do you do? And he said, Igbo music. And I told him, no, you're not doing Igbo music, right? And I explained to him. But after everything, you know, I found out that these young people, they are really passionate about what they want to do. Because even while I was convincing him, I said, would you want to do this in this language? And he said, no, that he wants to do it in Igbo. Pure, this is great, right? Okay, great. And he talked about support. So now you talked about OAPs and supporting. Really, I have to say this. You must doesn't collect money from artists to play their songs. Once you have great ears for good,
yes,
you play their song.
correct.
Don't collect money at all. Yes, because people do it. They ask for money. When you have, I know lots of young artists that are tomorrow, most times they even treat me as if I'm trash, but I don't care because this is me wanting to use, because I said to myself that for me to have the mic, as long as I have the mic, as long as I'm in the media and I can support any upcoming artist, I am ready to support, right? So I try as much as possible. Even on my programs, I infuse. I play their. I have lots of young people, young guys in Okada I don't even know. Sometimes they get my number from where I don't know, and they reach out to me and say, "Send me your song." Once you send, sometimes it even gets overwhelming. That's why on WhatsApp I had to, deactivate my read receipt. So sometimes when you send me a message on WhatsApp, I see it mostly, but sometimes I just ignore because with the amount of songs I get, it becomes too overwhelming for me. But then I still, want to carry people along. And then I would love to say something. For sure, organizers in the Southeast, I am very, very angry at them. Why? When you bring all your top artists from Lagos or wherever you bring them from, you come down to the East and opposite the ones so neighbor local artists. Why are you calling them local artists? How do you expect them to feel? We are talking about projecting the Igbo music. This boys na tafufu. I know most of these early to mention name, right? You sign them and you're not even doing anything for them. Get a fan on at the same pedestal, and that's not the mic, and that's not the promotion. That is so wrong. So for sure, organizers in the Southeast, please stop calling them local artists. Allow them. Give them that ample time to go on stage, to go and sing. Okay, I've been in the same environment with Slow Dog and Olamide. They came for a show, and when it was time for Olamide to sing, people were ecstatic, people were happy. But when for Slow Dog to mount the stage, what I saw that day, it was, at some point I went backstage, I told Slow Dog, Omo, I love what you did. That he told me that he said to himself that he was going to stay in Southeast and make a name for himself. And there's a brand I wouldn't want to mention. Whenever they are doing anything, Manabia, he got put Slow Dog all over their posters. They take him to as far as Benue State to go and headline their show. Right? So we need to begin to also make these people have confidence. I was talking to AC, I told him, you'll get a playlist. You want to interview a young, telling you to tell them to bring money, right? They're telling you, okay, how many minutes? Except maybe you've managed to become someone at your station where you work, where the management in their mind, they know that they can't even begin to treat you anyhow. That is why you can boldly walk into your general manager's office to tell your general manager that and a certain artist is coming, for you to even, interview these artists and get to promote them. So we need to do well. Our own personalities to
Sabi Sabi. Hello. We lost you on your last advice for on-air personalities.
We do not like it at all. So we need to do well for ourselves. So people like facing Lagos to do well. Come on. Why won't we help in projecting these people? And yes, for those people with the A-list artists, come on. They should do well by supporting these artists. They should do well. I know that the new media is really helping. Instagram is helping. But if you are a celebrity on Instagram, if on the street, nobody knows you, it happens after it happens. Most times I'm having conversation with my sibling and he says, Onyabu is a celebrity or a star on TikTok. But me, I don't even do TikTok. Onyabu is a celebrity to show you the power traditional media has, to show you the power radio has in promoting these artists. So radio stations need to do more. Managers of radio stations need to do more. Content creators need to do more also in projecting these artists. And please, let's go away with the local tag. Please, we shouldn't call them local. Oh, yes, you're kind of local. That is basically what I have.
Okay. Biko ijiwe onwe from Ife Sabi Sabi ọkwa n'ife dị m n'obi kemgbe. And if I concerning media houses in the southeast, imago media houses we have here are not as prominent as the ones we have in the West, are not as loud as the one we have in the West. But then we are always using the opportunity of promoting the media houses we have here in the southeast. I have going in maybe lack of social media management and all. And only can I want no be since. It may be December na habia Easter agago. It may be all these programs are named during Easter and December. I thought that our companies will spend money and bring down A-list artists down to Southeast for her, sometimes nothing less than 7 million naira each just for coming to perform for some few minutes. These A-list artists will come down to the Southeast and will not visit any media house in the Southeast.
For a follow-up interview.
Yes, for a follow-up interview. These are things that if they go to maybe Port Harcourt or they go to Abuja, they must do these things. Or they go to Lagos, they must do these things. And
okay, can I say something?
Okay, all right.
Okay. Well, I have been opportune. Maybe an artist comes into town and I get the call. Don't know why it happens like that. Maybe because of my personality, or I don't know why it happens like that. But then when you read or schedule for on the station, most times they talk to you. Is it like Anambra the way airport? So sometimes before they go down to Anambra, they get tired. They have to retire rooms. Sometimes you begin to, you have to come, and so they go ahead to tell you that you're tired, right? I think that is. And the number two problem is these radio stations, they are not. I know my station for one, at least, because sometimes people I have gotten also artists coming, right? And you have, and I've been in a situation whereby I've interviewed because I can remember after if he had any conversation, Rude Boy or something, because when he came into said he had a program to be interviewed, right? So maybe it depends on the way, also depends on how you feel. By the time you're I think it's personality. You anchoring that show, because on every radio we have different titles and we have the content of the show. If you're into entertainment programs, I think the radio has given you that platform. So the radio mustn't go out to go and source for people to come. If you want to build your program, I anchor a health program, I have a traffic show that I do. I have a program that I do that has to do with indicators for everybody in the grassroots. And I go out of my way and I bring all local government chairmen to my program. I bring in, commissioners. I bring them into my program. I bring in the PRO of Anambra State Police Command into my show. Talk to the people. So I expect anybody that is anchoring an entertainment show to go out of his way, do something. Create that networking with these people. Your station, you are there to create that brand for yourself. So I mustn't blame the radio station, because there is no way Timaya will be in town and I bring Timaya and I walk into my boss's office to say Timaya is in town and I want to have Timaya on my program. There is no way he's going to tell me no. He won't, because once Timaya is in my station, he's going to make videos. He's going to also project the station. So there is no way a Genevieve is coming into town. P-Square to I go out of my way to bring him, and the management to say no, we don't want this person. Come on. So it has to do with the presenter. Now all professionals, so setting program know how to go about it. So I think basically it's not the fault of the radio owners or the radio station per se. I think it's an individual problem.
Okay. So
Sabi,
let me quickly add something. I mentioned on depending on the personalities involved. You see, whereas you can get some artists on your own to come around, don't also forget that some of these artists are so difficult in their person. So much so that in Nigeria here, a million things is greater and bigger than a radio presenter. So sometimes the radio has a very big role to play. And I'll tell you, first of all, radio and marketing unit and publicity unit. In Southeast, some radio stations. If we just a small room radio, everybody can walk in and walk out. In Hot FM here, the building is large. There are people in the advertisement unit is large. Newsroom is large. Marketing unit is large. OAP unit is large. Publicity unit, in fact, the highest paid people in Hot FM in Lagos are the publicists. There are about 4 different producers of shows, for instance, work in the name of the radio stations to be able to infiltrate some shows. Let's assume Obi Kubana is planning an event tomorrow. Let's say a return to Oba, for instance. Sabi Sabi for Obi Kubana. Station's vehicle pulls up in Obi Kubana's compound, and the gate man calls to say, "Sir, something like so FM is here." Or potable manager. Indi bosini Nwádiké na nyuma or manager potable Obi Kubana na no na KC ha na timaya ha na bieba. Biko ha biaro nye project some of my OAPs for you to give them ohere to interview these people at the radio station. Obi Kubana will go and tell Timaya, look, after your show, I am taking you to a social radio station for you to have a 5-minute interview. Timaya would never tell you that he is tired because onye potaria wonye gwari abi that he will agree. The day we interviewed Jidenna in Hot FM in Lagos, Jidenna flew in from Atlanta and his jet landed around 9 p.m. in Murtala Mohammed. My boss heard that Jidenna is in town, went and contracted Jidenna's company in Atlanta, and they called him that a radio station will be waiting for him at the point of entrance with his management. My office provided Jidenna's security and car that moved him from the mainland in Ikeja to Lekki to come and have that interview. My radio station contacted the management of Sislak. Sislak is an American rapper to come and have interview with us. So I believe that sometimes for some OAPs in Ata, you from what you explain now, you are very dogged in what you do. Sometimes the radio station has to come in to say, okay, IAG our power. There was an interview I was chasing one certain time. I couldn't get it until my manager intervened. You understand? Because whereas you can say I'm an OAP, they can just look at you, Kilode, who is this one? But if your management says, yes, this is the manager of so FM, and the next minute they are listening, and then they will forward you as their in guy. That is one. Then two, some of the radio stations also do not have strong publicity units. If there are strong publicists in these radio stations, and you hear that the show is coming, you are right in this case. All those are as a musician and at least that will get all your mind on the radio station, then the same times, yeah, it's in the you know. And in fact, before I even come to that, I wanted to talk about their planning. In another show, even though your radio station did not sign in as part of the sponsors, you know, you can go there by yourself. And see, just like Sabi Sabi saying, but probably carry you ego.
Ezioku. Money, more than everything. Money is a problem we have in this part.
Or to Anambra. Them say, but okay, I am a radio station manager, radio 3 times, free of charge. Only I tell them that I'm going to give you free bell on my radio about the show. What you pay me in return is that when Fino comes, as the event planner, you tell him to give us 5 minutes on radio. Let one of my presenters interview him. But when you begin to insist that everybody know with adverts, yeah, with go. Sometimes when these musicians come, the event planners block the presenters from coming to meet them for their own show because you can't charge me to play advert on your radio. And you want Egon Puro, the musician, to fly down. Maybe I fly him on first class and bring him down. Then you want to use that money I paid to come and do your own show. No, now it doesn't work like that. So we need to de-emphasize money in Southeast. When we de-emphasize money in Southeast, a lot of things will begin to move. And again, also, I must make it clear here that Southeast rich men and businessmen are the poorest investors in the media.
Yes, true.
Because I don't know how you begin to tell me that there is nobody with money. Oh, now, imangwam na enwero billionaire nini na anu na Igbo ama nwete license raw and very big television. Even though I've heard about Minat and the politics that played out, I know. But what if you de-emphasize politics and say this the TV station is going to be basically entertainment? They are fun, they are teenage, but only Igbo go. If you have be hotel, hotel, filling station, you know, that is why most of the popular and prominent media houses you have in Nigeria are owned by the other people I don't want to mention. The managers and supervisors are from those areas too. And they emphasize on their own people first, because yes, if you are given a broom to sweep a community, you begin from your father's house first. So if our people are investing in media and getting some of our top-notch media guys to come in and head these units, you know, we are definitely going to have a balance. Because by the time you have a strong media house now, something like a strong TV station that can rival Sound City, and then Ama Egwu goes in there to drop a proposal, and then we get a 30 minutes belt of the show. And throughout the 30 minutes, you are interviewing Igbo musicians, playing Igbo music. By the time it begins to gain traction, attention will shift from, if you play Sound City, there is every tendency that 90% of the viewers at that moment will pick remote and turn to Ama Egwu. And before you know it, it becomes something. So yes, my contribution to this is that we have not helped ourselves too much. We are yet to understand the importance of media. That is just it. If we understand and put in time and energy into it, we have the capacity to outshine everybody. That's all.
Yes, I understand what Ifesinachi is saying. Like, it took me coming down to Anambra to understand the mentality of an Anambra person, you know. They believe in Afia Dimane alone. So the media is not even their problem. That is their own belief.
But the media is the instrument of narrative control now. So, yes, how come they don't know that?
It's none of their business at all. They don't even want to invest in the media. They don't want to invest in the media. And I love the part where he talked about, you know,
recording
the management
in progress.
Also fronting themselves, management also being in front. I know presenters are, you're supposed to do for yourself, but your management also should be in front of you. But then when I talked about presenters on their personalities doing this thing for themselves, is you're selling yourself, because down here in the Southeast, come on, Achuka, you know, how many, at least, you know that I was even the last person that was around when you were around that tried to create publicity for this brand, that went out of our way to make sure that this has publicity. And I saw what that publicity did for the brand at the time when you were around. You understand? Lots of, we don't even value publicity here, even as that is why people will come and tell you in partnership, we are trying to, someone has called me for a meeting and I went. And this person told me, imagine an individual tell you that he wants to project the media. I was just looking at him as if he was carrying a baby lion on his head. An individual wanting to project. You know what the media is? So we do not even know the power we have, as a media. We don't know. So we need to do well for ourselves. We need to begin to project our culture. We need to begin to project ourselves. If we must grow, we should project ourselves. Charity, they say, begins at home. We need to begin to raise ourselves. And I see, I've seen somebody, trying to scold the child. She spoke Igbo, and she was trying to beat her child. And I even had to put it up on my WhatsApp status. And I can't even remember the English she spoke. She spoke this very wrong English to this child of, I think, 4 years or 5 years. And you are stopping the child from speaking Igbo. And you're speaking something entirely wrong to your child. So we are not even proud of the fact that we are Igbo. We are not. We're not proud of it. When you speak and you have that Igbo accent and somebody is laughing, Igbo, and I'm like, what is wrong with these people? So by the time we begin to accept ourselves, and the time we have rich men here in the Southeast, by the time they begin to invest, Iga Fucha na Hip TV, you check, you see, it's an Igbo man that is even behind Hip TV. If you begin to do your research very well, I know he's a Yoruba man, but investors there might be an Igbo man. Check Big Brother. It might even be most of the investors, the background investors. I'm not talking about the ones sponsoring. Why would they come down? That is why I'm even glad with what Ama Egwu is doing. Imagine tomorrow, Ama Egwu becomes really huge, really a big platform where people can come, project themselves, speak Igbo, project everything that has got to do with Igbo. I know African Magic Igbo, they are trying, but Ama Egwu, this is our own. We go back in the day, we begin to appreciate our own music, appreciate our culture. It begins from us appreciating our culture, knowing what we have, going back to those days when, you talk about wearing jigida, you talk about doing all those other things you have to do as an Igbo. These days, people will even tell you that, and I'm just going to stay for 2 weeks. Those days when my grandma was still alive, she gave me story, gave me gist about how they put you in a fattening room before you get married as a young woman. I don't see us doing it. That is why our culture is even dying. The Igbo culture is dying. We need to do more for ourselves. That is why what Ama Egwu is doing is really ingenious. It's really great, and I must say big ups to you guys for even sitting down to think about this, right? So basically, this is what I have to say.
Darling, thank you so much, Sabi Sabi. Thank you so much, Ifesinachi. We would love to have you you two again on the show. We will reach out again because your knowledge and wisdom has been mind-blowing. And hopefully there should be a better technicalities around it. We should have figured it out. If our music and us, where we sit down and discuss about Igbo music and talent. Our guest for today, Bo Sabi Sabi. Sabi Sabi bu a content creator, Bolokwa and OAP Ama. Onye nke ọzọ bụzikwa Maazị Ifésináchi Nwádiké. Maazị Ifésináchi bụkwa a poet, bụrụ a music critic, bụrụ an OAP as well. Anyị abịago na njedebe our music and all star. Hopefully, we are hopeful that Sabi Sabi and Maazị Ifésináchi will join us again. Bye.